Brian, welcome to the podcast. Tell us a little about yourself and about what is your superpower.
Oh, Adam, thanks for having me. Uh, my role is as the digital experience leader here at Mariner, and I'm an innovation product leader. I've spent my career, bringing people together to solve messy problems with clarity and purpose. I've had my feet in product design, user experience design, and I do specialize in human centered design. That's sort of the root of my toolkit, and I guess my superpower is really, creating those conditions for great ideas to emerge. So building the structure, bringing the people together and leading them through, the phases of, let's say a design thinking workshop, for example, and helping them really structure their thinking into something that they can then take and turn into something real.
And that's a very common challenge a lot of organizations have right now, as there's a lot of ambiguity as they're embracing AI and
Oh,
other innovations. So, in that context, why is it so difficult for large organizations to drive rapid innovation? What do you think?
well, three things. The first is it's systemic in that it's their nature or the way organizations are designed today is really diametrically opposed to the conditions we need to support
Mm.
innovation, right? The organizations today are designed around predictability and control, right? Everything they do is designed to ensure that everything goes to plan. Innovation, on the other hand, it's unpredictable. It's messy, requires a lot of iteration, a lot of failure, a lot of experimentation, and it's really uncomfortable for somebody whose whole structure is really designed for the opposite.
Hmm.
So that's why the biggest thing people ask is how do we do this? Well, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable because
Hmm.
that's what it's going to take. Um, they want innovation to happen. There's no lack of desire. Everybody wants it. You look at most over 80% of executives are saying innovation is a top three priority for us. But if you look at the research, only less than 5% are actually ready for it, both in
Hmm.
terms of structure, culture, enablement. It's just there's no alignment there whatsoever. Moving beyond the systemic pieces, the other part is culture. I think to me, innovation is a cultural thing. It's a
Hmm.
mindset. It's not a thing you do. It's a way you operate. It's a way you view the world. Organizations we don't reward risk taking and creativity, right? We'll reward consistency and success. And people are going to avoid things that might fail. Like I don't want that to be on my head. And teams are waiting for permission instead of asking for forgiveness. Like that was one of our old mantras at my lab was don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness.
Yes.
um, because it's not that people aren't creative. It's not that there's a lack of ideas out there. It's just that the environment punishes uncertainty. It doesn't support those conditions, as we've said. And that's where things like design thinking can help. It does provide structure for these kind of activities, and I think that's helpful. But at the end of the day, you have to be comfortable not knowing what is coming out the other end. Uh, the last, third thing for me is what I, we'll call the insights gap. But really, you're too far from your customer. You're basing a lot of what you're doing on assumptions or perceptions, as opposed to just sitting down and actually engaging with the people that you're designing for or your product is designed to support, and really understanding what they need from it. You can't move fast, right? If your ideas are a month old or filtered through so many layers, you really can't take action to that. So getting firsthand direct interaction with your customer is so important. I had a project. I worked with an organization where they were designing a new wholesale portal for their customers, and the biggest challenge for me was getting permission to bring their customer into the room with us.
Hmm.
And we had folks from all across their organization, but the reality was is the client itself came in with a laundry list of all these different technical pieces and things, that the bells and whistles that they wanted to see into this product. But the reality was, when we sat down with a customer and understood actually what their process was, it was way too complicated. So
Yeah.
what we built was much smaller, much simpler, much more basic, and at the end of the day, that won an innovation award, and it was far simpler than what was initially envisioned because it directly addressed the customer need and supported the way they work. Right? I'll often say, don't make the user adapt to the system, adapt the system to the user. And so really that's where me as a human-centered designer, I really push a lot of organizations to start with your customer and their needs and then work back to technology.
Yeah, and HCD, one of the principles is how can you decrease the distance between the team that's doing the work and a customer? Can a team have direct access to the customer because that will generate the right innovation? Yeah.
Absolutely. And you can do that easily and quickly in short cycles. It's not an
Yeah.
arduous task. It's just you have to be willing to take that leap and
Yeah,
be
and you have
willing
to
to be
be
wrong,
intentional.
right? To have your assumptions proven wrong. But again, I mean, again, to me, it's back to that validation piece, right? I always say, testing is cheap, guessing is expensive.
Yeah, because you're going to be either proven wrong now or later. So rather do it now when you invest 5% when you're doing, when you're deciding what the product features will be, rather than
100%.
putting in a market, investing the 95% and then realizing that it's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, and that comes back to this often. I mentioned the hop. Trying to sell this idea of doing the innovation to somebody and say, I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how much it's cost, and I don't know what we're going to do at the end of it. But if I can go and say, well, the big piece of this process is rapid cycles of validation with your customer, which is a risk reduction measure, right? We'll know before we start building it whether it's going to work or
not. Okay. So if I am a leader in any of those scenarios, what is kind of easy advice, actionable advice that you would give?
Yeah, it's simple. Stop being a gatekeeper, start being a gardener, right? Your role is to create the right conditions. You're not there to create with the ideas, but you do need to support and foster the conditions that will allow those ideas to emerge, right? You got to till that soil, you got to fertilize that water, and you got to make sure you're keeping it well kept and nurtured. You have to show support. And I think the biggest, we can shift the mindset too, because I think we think about when we go and let's say we do a proof of concept and we come back and really, the question as a leader in your mind should not be, well, did it work? Your question should be, okay, well, what did you learn? Because that's really what it comes down to. We're not going to get it right in the first try. We're not going to get it right on the 50th try, right? We'd love to, but we may not. You have to be
incrementally, you'll be better.
You have to embrace the process and you have to understand it's incremental and it's just continually increasing your knowledge and then applying that knowledge to what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. And then we'll include your link to LinkedIn. So if people want to reach out to you, ask you questions, we'll put that in there when we post the session. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. This was great. Bye.